am interviewing Jeilene Tracey, and I am super excited about this. This is probably going to be one of my most favorite because she is a vibrational geneticist. Is that how you say it exactly?
That is, you've got
Perfect.
it.
So please tell us who you are and what you do, because I think this is amazingly perplexing.
All right, thanks. Jeilene Tracey, as you said, and I call the modality that I practice vibrational genetics. And I came to call it that over many, many years of studying many different modalities and incorporating them all together and being inspired by the work of many others and working through other modalities and starting to connect to different extra dimensional beings. I really found my own unique spin and my own unique way of bringing the work into the world that best suited my vibration and the vibration of the people I'm working with and the guides that I work with. So that's where it came from. And I get lots of guidance from the different councils that I work with. And so it's a little different for everybody that I work with, but basically it is tailored to shift DNA elements, cellular communication, DNA, the way it vibrates, the way it holds light, the way it magnetizes experiences to us. I really believe that our DNA is a portal and that we have, these trillions of portals in our body that, like I said, magnetize experiences to us and really set the stage for the type of experiences and traumas and dramas and wonderful things that happen to us all along the way. It's all through that portal of the DNA. So I spent a lot of my time working there.
I think that's such an interesting way to think about DNA as being a portal. Like I always envision all the cells with synapses and like the gates are opening and closing and just thinking about, I have goosebumps thinking about like DNA is a portal. That is so ridiculously enlightening. I mean, it's crazy because if you really like are able to grasp that and you can harness that in such an awesome way. Like if you can understand that concept, I mean, it's so true about being a portal because of trauma, like you said, can be change the whole vibrational pattern of things because it's being channeled in and allowed.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so much programming that we've all been exposed to from the time that we're little children. We start to get the programming of society and our parents, and lots of it is always with best intentions, but then there's lots of other stuff going on in the world that sets neural patterns in our brain and informs the DNA. Okay, this is the way that we respond to this, and then the DNA responds by literally shifting. And I'm not talking about like the code of the DNA, but I'm talking about all the things that manage the DNA, the epigenetics, all the things that determine what gets expressed and what gets silenced. So it has a huge impact, all that programming and the way our brain works and the environment we're in electromagnetically, all of that has a huge impact on your health, your well-being, the way your brain works, how well we feel, depressed, anxious, happy, sad, all of it is related.
So is there anything in particular that you could share with us, like how you would, like a good tip or trick that you feel is good for being like shifting yourself back into a different vibration, like with like being busy in mind? Because I feel like everybody is like, they want to get themselves to feel the best, but they always use the time management excuse. So that's why I like the quick mental shift of how you would suggest to do something.
Absolutely. So one thing that I feel is missing for most of humanity is a deep, strong connection to the earth. And what my guides have shown me is that humanity, being so disconnected from the earth, is basically missing a piece of the puzzle of their energetic matrix, that we are constantly being barraged with electromagnetic signals. Our body processes those. The majority of them get absorbed and processed and stuck, and that causes a lot of anxiousness. And I know a lot of people are dealing with a lot of anxiety. It's off the charts in our society right now. But what we can do very simply is to reconnect and plug into the earth, because the earth is a huge signal transducer, meaning she takes discordant signals and she neutralizes them for us. So no matter where you are, if you can take your shoes off and put your feet on the ground, take a few deep calming breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth, send roots into the earth and just reconnect into the earth. You can practice, if you have 5 minutes, you can practice sending energy into the earth, sending love into her. Just let her know that you're there and that you're connected to her, and then feel the energy come up from her. That will immediately start to shift the energy balance in your body, because we're not meant to be disconnected from the earth. Any Native American can tell you that, right? That the disease of disconnections, humans are suffering from separation sickness, not just from the earth, but really from our true selves as spirit having a human experience. Mm-hmm. And the earth is this huge magnifier or portal of connecting into that place. And when we're not connected into her biorhythms and the ecosystem around us, we become very disoriented. We have that separation sickness. We don't feel whole or complete. And a lot of people don't put 2 and 2 together and realize that the earth is a big part of the puzzle.
I feel like, generally speaking, like people just think that earth is just where we live. They don't think of it as like a huge magnet of amazingness. And it's a true relationship. It's supposed to be homeostatic. But with all the other factors that are going on, I feel like that's a huge disconnect, that people don't even recognize that the earth and the ground, everything like us, we're all supposed to be this perfect balance. And it's so off that
yes, it's so
only
off.
If we could imagine if we were all nice to Mother Earth, like what would actually occur.
Right, because, we're these living, breathing, energetic modules that are on the planet. We're part of the ecosystem. We're full of all the microbes and bacteria. And if for anyone who's heard me talk before, you know that I'm really into the microbiome and keeping that balanced, because the microbiome is the earth's right hand, energy and decomposer of the earth, and keeps the earth clean and keeps all the plants and the animals functioning and alive. And we can't do it without the microbes, and they're very connected to the earth energy too. So when you're out of sync with the earth, your microbiome can get out of sync. That's why people are talking about, grow your own vegetables, get the microbes, get the spore forming microbes that you need, work with the soil, work with the land, be connected, because it's very grounding to have your hands in the dirt. It's very grounding to eat the foods that you grow yourselves, and then you get the local microbiome that is going to work best with yours. I mean, I just can't ever emphasize on every aspect of your life that connection into the earth is such a big part of helping us feel stable and grounded here. And there's a lot of crazy energy around us right now. There's a lot of discordant energies coming in through the portals around the planet right now. And that is making a lot of people feel very unsettled and anxious. And so anchoring into the earth is a big way to help.
I think that's also something that piqued my interest. My husband and I just happen to be like very into gardening, and we have our own big garden out back, and it never really dawned on me until I had this huge spiritual awakening and like the connection of every little thing that I had already been doing, but I didn't realize like how beneficial it was until like researching things, because I'm very clinical, being nurse-oriented brain. I like the data to know, and the support of it. So it's so interesting. I was reading a study that was talking about grounding by gardening, but it also like increases your vibration of your food.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
It's like a whole cyclical process.
You're connected to the microbes, you're connected to the soil, you're infusing your energy into the whole process. Mm-hmm. You're part of the process, you're part of the ecosystem, you're stepping into it, you're, consciously participating. And that's what a lot of us aren't doing right now, is consciously participating in our environment. And that goes with the things that we do, in the doing, but it also comes with the being. Like, are you consciously observing your energetic environment? Are you consciously participating and understanding what's coming at you, being able to assess it from a place of neutrality, and then participating in a way that you consciously choose to, as opposed to letting everything come in and affect you and becoming and feeling like the victim of it. So a lot of that present moment focus, conscious observation, and again, that all comes from being connected to your environment and all the energy around you.
I love that. Cause I say, I even ask my husband, like, do you want to actively participate in this? If I don't, like, I use that term all the time with my clients, with my family, with even my little ones. And it's because, like, I don't want to just passively do things. Like, you really want to put your energy forth to something that you believe in. And people just, I think that the world is so busy and things are so instant gratification that people just don't really realize what they're truly missing out on if they're not really participating in their life.
Yes. Yeah, it's true.
I have a question about intuition and vibration. Like, how do you feel like the body, like, vibrationally speaking, really shifts when you're very in tune with your intuition? Or do you feel like they're two separate entities that kind of work together? Does that make sense?
It does. No, it's to me, it's all very related, because, I believe that it goes all the way down to the DNA. And so I really feel that to become intuitive means to become very tapped into and connected with all of our bodies, right? Our physical body, our mental body, our emotional body, especially, and all the ethereal bodies outside of that. But that really comes later. The ethereal stuff for me comes later. First, you have to connect in through the physical body, because we came here to be physical beings. And so I really feel like the physical body is a really beautiful portal to start with. And when we connect in with the physical body, we really feel ourselves grounded. And a lot of us sometimes are outside. I know I had a tendency for most of my life to be not really consciously in my body because it wasn't that comfortable. So I'd be outside of it, skimming the surface, not really dipping down deeply. And so a lot of things would happen to me and I wouldn't emotionally react because I wasn't really connected to what was in front of me.
Right.
Right. So that was a big process. Like, if all I ever did from all this work I've done is just to become a more connected emotionally person, that would have been enough, because really this whole journey for me has been about self-healing and about evolving as a human so that I can enjoy myself here and not just the surface and, phone it in my whole life.
Totally. No, some people don't even think like that, though. Like, they don't even have, like, spiritual journey to me. Like, it's my awakening is relatively new within the last, like, year and a half, 2 years. And so that's like why I'm asking so many people different questions. It's because sometimes the skimming the surface, they think that that's like, okay. And like, they're good with it. And to me, I'm like, oh, like, there's so much more to life than that. And that's why I think it's so important.
Yeah, because a lot of times when we're skimming the surface, we don't even realize we're skimming the surface. We just think that we're keeping ourselves in a safe place that feels comfortable, and dipping down doesn't feel very comfortable. In fact, it feels very painful. And people think, well, why would I want to revisit all of that stuff that is down there in that dark place? But, I just wrote an article recently about this time of year really invites us to step into our shadow side and to all of the parts that make us, because you can't just ignore part of you and, just be like, oh, I'm full of light and bright and I'm only with the light, because that's not realistic. You have all these fractals of expression of your oversoul energy, and they're all experiencing different things. And some of them, I'm sure, are not very nice or not very pretty and aren't doing things that you would be proud of. But those are all aspects of yourself as well. We all have thoughts that we're not proud of, or we sometimes did things throughout some time of our life that we're not proud of, but that's all part of you. And so integrating the whole self is really what we came here to do. And that's the microcosm of the macrocosm of the big work, right? The oversoul is trying to integrate all of its parts, good, bad, ugly, pretty, beautiful, evolved, guru to, pardon my French, shithead. So the whole thing, right? So we want to, in order to reintegrate and reunify with source energy, which I believe is really where we're all flowing to, it's about bringing all of it back together. So
that's awesome. I love it. It's used to be such a red flag to feel like the emotional aspects of other people's energy and not knowing what my intuition was telling me and all this stuff. And now it's just like, it's such a blessing that I had a spiritual awakening to show me what our abilities are. And if people would just be okay with being a little uncomfortable, I think it would be a lot more productive with certain things.
True that. So I think so many people right now are becoming so uncomfortable that they can't deny it anymore.
Totally.
Because of the electromagnetics and the texture of the energy on the planet have shifted and changed. And so the stuff's bubbling to the surface for people, and they can no longer abide by it. They just can't ignore it anymore. So
Right.
At least that's happening. And not that I think people should suffer, but I do think people need to, come into that place where they start addressing
Totally.
the unspoken and shoved down emotions.
Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate your time, and I know that I learned a ton. I love this. This is like a little fuel for me. I love it. So if you could tell people where they can find you, I would appreciate that, because I know that people will want to find out more info.
Okay. You can find me on Facebook at Facebook/Jeilene Tracey. And I don't know if you're going to have the spelling of my name up, but it's a little different. Okay, great. Hard to spell. But anyway, I have a website, and that's www.jailenetracey.com. And so you can find me there, and all the information about my work and my sessions. And I'm creating more and more information and content on my website, and I'm putting a whole wellness site up. I'm going to be posting tones there that can be downloaded.
Cool.
Accessed. I've got some videos up with some tones, and so all of that's coming together right now. And so more and more will be posted there.
Awesome. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for your time. I know everybody's going to learn a ton.
Thank you, Ashleigh. Pleasure meeting you. And
you too.
Goodbye, everybody.